To start off with, it's always good to start with a definition of what the science says R+ is. So R+ is a consequence that increases the chances of you getting a desired behavior in the future. So does it happen in the future? Yes. Great. It's basically when I do a behavior and I get something added into the environment that I want. And the only way to tell which of any of the four consequences has been received is by measuring what happened to behavior, and that's usually where we let ourselves down. When I'm on courses and I ask people to give us an example of punishment, loads. We're all fine with that. If I ask people to give us examples of things that they do because they get R-, so I'm doing it because I have to, again, we have no problem explaining those. But if I ask a group of people to give me some examples of R+ in their environment, silence. We're not very good at really knowing what it is that the R+ looks like to us, let alone to anybody else around us. One of the problems that we have is that we make assumptions about R+ more than any other consequence out there. So we assume that when things are going well, I know they're going well, so everybody else obviously knows they're going well, and they're all receiving R+ naturally because I'm feeling it, so they are. One of the other things that we do quite often is we have been conditioned over time to pair the word reward with R+. And unfortunately, reward alone is an attempt at R+. R+ is a measure of behavior. So I'm not suggesting that you stop attempting to reward people, just that you add the missing factor of measuring what happened to behavior afterwards to make sure that it was received as R+. So obviously in our workplaces we have lots of people we're trying to deliver R+ for, and it's quite difficult, so we come up with ideas that will help us along the way. Things like Employee of the Month and Employee Awards. Now these alone are attempts at R+, and they're fantastic if they work. But if they don't work, they can make all sorts of other things happen in the environment that's really uncomfortable. I would suggest that in the average workplace, they probably work for about 10% of the employees. And they're the 10% that were already doing all these things anyway. They like awards too. Great. So that's brilliant. They're already doing all the things we want them to do. The problem is if you're working in an environment where you receive more R- and punishment, then even an attempt at rewarding once a year or 6 months isn't going to land as that. So what you need to make sure is that these things will work if you already exist in an environment where we get lots of natural R+ daily and weekly. It's already there. Then these things are seen as just another reason to celebrate, and it's brilliant. But if you're working in an environment where that doesn't happen naturally, then the likelihood is that those things aren't going to land as R+ either. You wouldn't make assumptions about what your family and friends see as R+. You make sure you find that out. So the first time you buy someone that you've become friends with or are dating, whatever, first time you buy them a present, a little bit of guesswork's going on, but you know pretty quickly whether you've got it right or not. And if you get it right, yes, that's it, they're getting earrings forever. I know they like it. I've quickly received some R+ for the present, done. But if you get it wrong, you definitely know that quickly, and you don't try it again. So just try and use the same techniques you do at home in the workplace. It's exactly the same theory. It's just about watching what happens to behavior after I've attempted to deliver something. And in terms of reinforcement, when you've delivered R+, you get it back pretty quickly. So if you're feeling good about it, you're probably quite sure that they're feeling good about it too. So the reason why we bring it back to the science is that it helps us to be more considered when we're delivering our consequences, whichever of those consequences it is. But when it comes to R+, we just don't pay that much attention to it like we do the others. Whereas it's the best one to deliver and get some creativity going in the environment. It's a fantastic tool to make people want to come to work.